Hey, Saller checking in here with team number 3381 Droid Rage. I'm here with Joey, Brock, and Trinity. We're going to check out more here about behind the bumpers, about what makes this team work, what makes this team function, some unique features and attributes. So we're going to be starting with the intake, going up through the indexer, shooter, climber, electrical, maybe some of the changes they're looking at making for the at-home challenges.
Giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
We would like to thank our friends at Stryker for supporting fun so we can continue to make content for you. Stryker makes some of the most revolutionary medical equipment and is a big supporter of FIRST and its participants. If you are looking for an internship or career that supports you being in FIRST, check out careers.stryker.com to learn more. You can also directly support fun by joining Fun Nation. Click the join button, and just for a few bucks a month, you'll unlock special perks and directly support us so we can keep making great content. If you're on an FRC or FTC team and you're currently meeting safely in person and have a functional robot, we'd love to have you on our Behind the Bots or Behind the Bumper segments. Go ahead and reach out to us on any of our social channels, on Discord, or send us an email at admin@firstupdatesnow.com, and let's get your team scheduled to be on First Updates Now.
So Trinity, talking about this robot here, I want to talk about the indexer. Let's see, take in some power cells. Tell me about really how this works, kind of a unique way of bringing it up into the indexer and intake as well.
Yes, so what we have here is we have a bunch of belts that drive our robot up. There's two different sections of it. So there's two different sections. There's a bottom section and then there's a top section. The bottom section is pretty much what intakes all the balls. We drive over it and the surgical tubing helps lift it up into our indexer. It's a pretty simple, self-explained process. We use red lines and gears to run that. And it drives it up to the second indexer, the top indexer, where we have modified wheels that help drive it into our shooter.
So let's see it intake a couple and maybe a couple follow-up question for you as well too. So as this goes and intakes these on here, what was the inspiration between kind of bringing it into your robot first before bringing it back up? We've seen a couple different examples, including another one here where they use an arm that kind of does a dual purpose. Tell me about what was your thought process, and you're like, hey, this is a way for us to do it.
So pretty much behind the idea was we did originally have an intake device called the flop, but we ended up taking it off because it included quite a bit of pneumatics, and ultimately we did not have the weight to do it. So we took it off, and this works just as well. It just requires us to drive over it.
Yeah, no, I love the thought process on that it's not even really required to do something like that. And then on the indexer as well too, obviously a lot of poly belt that you use on this. And then you got a couple of these extra spokes on here as well too. So as that's passing through, what have you done to make sure that there's no power cells jamming or anything like that?
So we actually went through this process, and we found that the bands like to stay on the high portions of the orange. And ultimately, we didn't really have to modify anything to get the power belts to not jam. So it just kind of worked out, which actually rarely happens.
There's nothing wrong
robotics.
with that though, right?
So we really didn't have to mess with it. We started off making it out of wood, and it worked well then, and now we have it out of aluminum, and it works great.
Well, let's kind of talk about the next process journey. Joey, I know you're going to be talking about the shooter and the climber as well too. So why don't you run us through what you chose to do for a shooter? I'd love to hear some of the reasoning too. We see some teams who do maybe a full hood versus you have two powered wheels actually shooting it out, and two different wheels as well too. Maybe why you chose some of that, and of course we'll talk about the climber.
Yeah, so essentially the reason we have two different powered wheels is this bottom one actually spins faster than the top one.
Sure.
And that gives it a little bit of curve to help it go a little further and a little straighter. The reason for the different wheels, originally we actually had green wheels identical to this, but they stretched a lot more.
Sure.
And the reason for that was actually it would stretch and grab the ball as it was coming out. So as it expanded, it would catch that ball and bring it out. Couple things we did this year, we put these star wheels on, which are essentially these wheels modified. And those bring
modified
it up,
with like a bandsaw, right?
pretty much.
All
yeah.
right.
And those bring it up into the shooter. So we were able to put these wheels on, which are a little bit harder. They don't expand as much, and it gives it a lot better accuracy.
What about your distance on it? Like, I think one of the big advantages is that usually you can shoot power cells very far when you have 2 power wheels. How far have you been able to shoot?
From this line, we can make it over the goal and hit the wall in the back. So.
All right, we'll have to take a look at that in just a second. Actually, can we run a couple through? Let's see how far we can get these as well. Be
No,
interested to see.
I had some programmers doing some stuff on it, so I'm not 100%
Well, you know,
sure.
it's easy to blame the programmers, I just
Well,
want to say.
exactly.
But we'll
Yep.
take a look. I mean, obviously, robots are still being modified and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
too.
So
I think that's pretty good for distance.
Yeah, so they must have, I asked them to tone it down to about 75%.
Sure.
100%, we were just kind of a little
Skying it
excessive,
over
so
almost.
I see they actually did that, so.
Yeah, very cool. Now the climber as well too is something with the at-home challenges. Not really too much to talk about for that, but for the 2020 game, obviously it's a detachable climber on that. So love to hear. You know, I'm always interested to hear why teams pick something like that because it's kind of a one and done, right? If you miss, you're kind of in rough shape. Talk to me about that a little bit.
So the way our climber works essentially is we've got a hook, which is a little mangled at the moment. But essentially, as the winch releases cable, the surgical band inside of here, the elasticity raises it up as it goes. So, and that brings our hook up, and then as the winch winds back down on that pipe, it actually the hook detaches, and then the winch just pulls it up on its own.
That makes sense. So obviously reliable from that, but tell me about the pros and cons of doing maybe a process like this versus something like we've seen other teams where like they can, you know, try multiple times maybe or something like that. What made you decide to say, you know what, I think we're confident enough, we're going to get it, let's go this route?
Well, I mean, I guess what made us pretty confident is the fact that the hook is always attached until we start lifting. So we can back up and get aligned as many times as possible.
So it's pretty much you get in the spot you need to be, then they say, okay, go, we're confident that we're going to go this route. So, all right, I get it. It makes sense on that. And let's wrap up on this robot here with some of the electrical work, some of the sensors that go on it. So we got Brock, the electrician, who's going to be talking about really what goes into the guts of this robot.
The electrical on this robot is quite simple this year. We have 8 Falcons and 2 red lines. This is the electrical components. We have 6 Falcons on the drive base, which is new as of this year. Last year we only had 4.
Sure.
We had 2 Sims on the turret last year, and now they're replaced by Falcons. The new Falcons are encoded, and they all have their own motor controllers. So I have 4 motor controllers here. Only 2 are being used for the 2 red lines using the intake. The other 2 are not used. And then that's pretty much it. We're going to be putting a Sim on the winch once we have a proper mount for it.
So why did you switch to a 6-motor drive?
Well, we were trying to gain speed, and last year we were having troubles like moving and stuff, and we had overstressed power. We couldn't figure that out, and we replaced it, and everything seems to be working just fine this year.
Well, and I think speed, you know, with the at-home challenges as well too, there's definitely more of a priority for something like that. And as we look at, you know, the at-home challenges into the 2021 season, I know you haven't done too much of modifications on that yet, but what are some of the things you're thinking about, like, hey, these are the challenges that speak to my team? I know every team tries to do all of them, but are there any in particular, like, these are the ones we really want to focus on?
To be honest, we really haven't spent all that much time looking at the at-home challenges yet. Our main goal this season, and actually we accomplished it about 2 weeks ago, was we originally had 4 wheels on the base, or 8 wheels in total.
Sure.
We went down to 3. 'Cause essentially, we had 2 Omnis on the front and 2 in the back, and then 2 Plactions in the center. And we were not able to turn or maneuver very good at all. So with this, we're a lot more maneuverable. So we think we'll be able to tackle the at-home challenges a lot better.
So I'm gonna assume in your drive is it more of a West Coast style where it's offset a little bit, or was it offset before, or is everything just flat all the way across?
So originally, yeah, the two wheels in the middle were offset some.
Okay.
And it worked. It may have worked better if we were able to turn, but this setup is actually working a lot better than that. So.
No, and I love to hear about how teams are looking at modifying your own ways as well too. Of course, the at-home challenges, that's something that first presented, but I think one of the great things about 2021 is that teams can kind of look and analyze, say these are specifically what we want to do to make it better, because a lot of teams got their seasons cut short, right?
Yep.
So I really appreciate that candid feedback on that. So Droid Race, thanks for taking the time and talking about your robot. I can't wait to see what other modifications maybe come out of it and check in with you guys later. So good luck during the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks.
We would like to thank our friends at Stryker for supporting this video. Stryker is looking for current and future FIRST alumni to join their internship program, and FIRST mentors who are looking for a great career with a company who actually supports their FIRST journey. Go to careers.stryker.com to learn more. You can also directly support Fun by joining Fun Nation. Click the join button, and just for a few bucks a month, you'll unlock special perks and directly support us so we can keep making great content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow. And check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.